Hey guys. So I was really excited about today's topic because I was just going to get in and be kind of cheery as I always am and talk about how we can, in fact, remain calm and cheerful even when there's craziness going on around us. And that is going to be our topic today, as well as the topic for the blog that we'll post tomorrow. But I didn't plan on having to do this video in the wake of yet another school shooting. The school shootings break my heart. My daughter came to me last night. She just turned 12. She's in the 6th grade. And she talked to me about how frightened she is to go to school. And she talked to me about how she doesn't understand why our country doesn't do anything about the fact that kids can get guns. So we bonded and we talked and we held each other, and I talked about how scared I am to send my kids to school because you never know what's going to happen. And so that doesn't take away from the fact that she can still be joyful and I can still be joyful, in that we can still find peace in our everyday existence. So how do we do that? Well, there's a couple of different ways of going about this, and honestly, it kind of depends on your personality. I had a dear friend and mentor say to a group of us once, a long time ago, that one of the things that she does is she just kind of ignores the news, and she says that if something really important happens, it'll get back to her and she'll know what's going on. And at the time, I was a little aghast. I was still teaching political science at that time, well, criminology. And to me, the thought of not knowing what's going on in the world was really overwhelming, and why would we not want to be informed citizens? But as I've come out of that particular era of my life, I do, in fact, do the same thing. But I also try to pay attention to what's going on to a certain extent, especially, obviously, if it's something that affects my family, like a school shooting that is hurting my kids' hearts. So what do we do if we still want to know what's going on in the world and we still want to be informed citizens, but we don't really know how to keep ourselves safe from it all? Well, I do have some good tips for that. One is, when bad things happen, when people do things that cause sadness and sorrow, when there's things that the weather does, we have hurricanes here in the South, we can still find peace and solace. We can find that in our community and our loved ones. So gathering community around you, being together, and being in a place of gratitude for the love and support we can all give each other, that's a really good place to start. We can also, if it helps us feel good, get involved. Now, I do work with people sometimes that they get over-involved. Actually, I work with people quite often who get over-involved, usually in their jobs, but I have had clients that they are getting over-involved in their causes, in their volunteerism, in their activism. And so one of the things I recommend for that is to pick a topic. So for me, the school shootings hit home, and I know I'm going to get hate comments about this, but that's all right. But my two major political topics right now that I am an activist for are responsible gun ownership. I'm a member of Everytown, and I want to make it so that our legal system and our educational system helps people to understand that guns do kill people. And if we use them safely and responsibly, then we don't have to have a legal system that outright bans them. If I had my druthers, and again, I know I'm going to get the hate mail, I would like to see us go in the direction of Australia. And yes, ban firearms. But I know that's not realistic for the United States, at least not yet. And I don't know how many more children have to die for that to be realistic for the United States. But for now, at least we can talk about education and responsibility. So that's one of my major political issues. The other one of my major political issues here in the United States is mental illness and destigmatizing mental illness and allowing for community and social service support for mental illness. And that is a big pot. So we need to start in the schools, and we need to go all the way up to our judicial and our legal system. Our jails are our largest mental health facilities in this country, in the United States. So that's a problem, and that doesn't need to happen. And with the destigmatization, education, outreach, social support, and financial support in the form of redistributed tax dollars, we can help to alleviate the problem of our jails and our prisons being mental institutions, because they're not mental institutions. So those are my 2 points of activism. Maybe those aren't things that you care about, and that's fine. But if you want to get involved in 1 to 2 things that are important to you. Don't try to get over involved and spend all your time and all your energy focusing on the negative of what your issues are. Find the positive in that activism. Okay, so what if it's not about politics? What if it's not about getting involved? What if it's just about surviving? And you don't want to ignore the news, and you don't want to get politically involved. Then what do? Well, then you go to your everyday existence and you stay in 1 day at a time. And sometimes you need to stay in 1 moment at a time, especially if it's something that's really chaotic around you in your life. Maybe it's somebody who's having crisis. Maybe it is something that's going on in the community. But stay in 1 day or 1 moment at a time. And in those days and moments, find a place of gratitude for what you do have in your life. I had a very wise person say to me once, you know what? When it seems like the world is falling down and your whole existence is at risk, look down at your feet and be grateful that you have 2 feet to place on the ground. And maybe you don't have 2 feet to place on the ground, but you might have 2 hands. Hi, Bridget. So good to see you. Bridget is somebody who brings joy through her photography to the world. So that brings me to my next point. Find things that are simple and bring you joy. Bridget at Embraced Photography, she posts on Instagram. She has pieces in museums, galleries, not museums, galleries in San Diego, California. And we can look at a beautiful photo of the ocean, of the sun setting over a pier that Bridget has taken, and we can find joy in that. And that is one of the #1 ways to find happiness and joy and to maintain your peace of mind, even when our world is going crazy around us. And then finally, the things that are most important to me are the mind-body connection that I talk about in almost all of my videos in different ways. It's taking time to meditate, taking time to move, whether it's yoga or dance or walking or running. You know, I'm not a fan of running. That's for my body. For other people's bodies, it's great. Find something that gives you that peace physiologically as well as emotionally, because our physiology, our hormones are tied into our emotions. So if you can take time out to meditate, if you can take, and I'm talking just 5 minutes here, 5 minutes. If you can take time out to take a 15, 20-minute walk, that will do you a world of good. And just bathing your brain in happy hormones is going to help you to be able to stay calm, stay in a place of peace of mind during our crazy, hectic times, because they are. Hi, Bridge. So those are my pieces of advice. Stay in the moment. Give yourself joy through the simple things. Meditate, move, and be grateful. And if it suits you, ignore the news and or get involved. All right, everyone. I hope you have a beautiful spring. Spring has sprung. All of the azaleas are blooming around here. Go find what it is in your neighborhood, in your community, that spring is bringing to you. Thank you so much for tuning in, Peaceful Living Warriors. Stay strong, stay peaceful. Namaste.